Hello there. Hi. So we are here with the lovely and talented Darcy Miller, whom I've known for a number of years. Darcy is a filmmaker, writer, and actor, producer. You wear many hats and wear them very well, Darcy, from my point of view. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, our pleasure. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? You know, your work, your background, projects you've done, projects you're doing?
Yeah, I started as an actress solely and mostly in theater when I was young and then in New York. But I did a film when I was 12. My family had some actors in it. And so I got this audition for a film and I loved film. I loved film sets. And so when I got older, I was still doing theater in New York and I went to drama school in London. And then I moved to Portland and there's not a lot of theater here and there's not as much independent film here. There's some, but not as much as New York. And so I thought, well, I'll just do my own filmmaking. And I'd always been a writer. So I thought, well, it's a good opportunity to combine writing and acting and filmmaking. And I just started making my own films and currently working on a short film that is almost done. It combines live action and animation and music. It's kind of a little bit more of an experimental film.
Nice. Doing some training in London. What was that like? How did you like it?
The London training was a lot more technical, a lot of voice work and movement work and Shakespeare, and really loved basically just loved being in London. Loved seeing tons of plays, and I'd always loved British actors and I really wanted to learn how they did what they did. So I think maybe I learned a little bit of that. And then to combine it with the Meisner training in New York was great because such a different perspective, and that's so much of what I've gotten since I came back to US was a lot of Meisner training, which is so alive, but combining that with some of the technical stuff I'd learned in London I just felt like I had a really good perspective on how to do it. Whether I could always do it or not was questionable, but how to do it.
I think you do it beautifully. Yeah, I agree. I think that the richest kind of actors, the richest work we see sometimes are actors who have trained in different disciplines. You always hear this story about that Meisner will not work with Strasberg, will not work with Stella Adler, will not work with what the Rada kids do in London, and I don't think that's true at all. I think that it gives you a richer, like you just said, a richer perspective, and a different way to work, and you get, I think at the end of the day, actors, you get to pick and choose. It's apples and oranges, and ultimately it's whatever works for you.
Yeah, I think in the end, you always hear, and I think it's true, you kind of develop your own way of working, and that's when you work best, when you can figure out what works best for you. So it's nice to have whatever you can to draw on.
Yeah, I agree. What's your process like when you're making a film? You're making a film right now. You told me before we started you were getting ready to finish making it. When you start making a film, you're the filmmaker. You're one of the actors. Do you have a long rehearsal process, or is it more like Cassavetes where you talk about one thing and then you just throw the actors out and do something else and be spontaneous and make everybody crazy, but then it's brilliant anyways, or is it somewhere in the middle?
This last film was really unique because it was a COVID film. So my daughter is in it and I am in it, and there's a voiceover of someone else, and that's it. And we did no rehearsal. Well, I gave her some lines to try, but she's not a trained actor and she doesn't do a lot of acting. So I was I was like, we're just doing this and we're hoping for the best. And we had one camera angle, one costume, even though it was shot over multiple days. You had all these ways I thought, well, we'll just use what we get. But she was great. I mean, kids are amazing actors because they're so authentic. They're able to so easily put themselves in the situation without all these blocks that we put up. I mean, it's just sort of play and pretend, and she's completely authentic. Whatever she does on screen is authentic, and almost everything she did was usable, whereas I'm like acting. Don't use that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, yeah, because kids are they're real. They haven't learned all that weird false behavior that, society imposes on us as adults, and then we have to drag it into acting class and figure out how to unlearn it before you can get back to
Yeah.
what's that childlike authenticity that they just naturally have.
Yeah, I mean, if you're able to let go of all that, it's just that fantasy of, and we use this as actors, but we forget that it's actually so natural to us. Like, just imagine, imagine something horrible. Of course, as we're actors, we always like to imagine something horrible. But imagine, this just happened. This just happened to this person that you love, and if you're at your relaxed, natural self, it just automatically provokes emotion in you. But if you got all your stuff going on and your preconceptions, then it's like, yeah, I don't know what I'm supposed to do or feel. But if you're a kid, you start crying.
Yeah. Do you do a lot of, or do you do any improv um, when you're preparing scenes to shoot, or you're actually shooting, or I mean, do you just go straight to the lines, or how do you like to work? I'm assuming that
Yeah, I love improv. In the project, well, a couple projects ago, I did a long, like a 10-part web series, and each of them were 10 minutes. They were pretty long episodes, and each was sort of like a little short film. And yeah, we worked all of the rehearsals we did on that shoot were completely improv. I don't think we ever really did the lines. We just improvised around different situations that were parallels in different ways to the scenes. And then I said, just know your lines because we might do them when we get on set. But it was great. It worked so well because I felt like there was a lot of it was kind of dark comedy in that one, and I felt like I really wanted the actors to just feel like they were really embodying the characters more than having to perfect any of the lines or the emotions, and that worked really well for that series.
hmm how close do you get to when you're acting? How close to the characters do you feel that you get? I mean, okay, the medium, we've all heard this. Uh, the media makes a lot out about method acting and actors, getting lost in characters and things like that, and sometimes, those having, weird consequences. Um, how close do you get to your character when you're acting? Is there always a physical or an emotional line between you, the actor, and the character you're playing? Or I don't know, how does it work for you? Or does it go back and forth?
Yeah, I don't think this is the best way to do it, and I'm trying to do it better now that I have a family. But traditionally, I got very close. I don't think that was a choice so much. The more I thought about and investigated the character from an internal place, the more I just sort of felt like I was them. I think
Mhm.
that's sort of something some actors are naturally good at, and maybe that's why we gravitate towards acting. And it's really not. I don't think it's like the best choice when you have to go home to your kids. Uh, so I have to be a lot more careful about the roles I do now, and I don't think I could do some of the darker roles that I did throughout my earlier life. But I do sort of naturally get involved with the character.
Yeah, stepping in sometimes is easier than stepping out.
Yeah, especially some of those the characters that that we get to portray, or there's a lot of disturbed stuff in their lives, and it's interesting to see, but it's hard to get in there.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about casting. Yeah, when people decide, oh, you're that person, or you're that woman, or you're that guy, and you think, no, but those are sometimes the roles you get offered. Yeah, so that's what you end up playing.
Yeah.
Hmm. When you in the very beginning, we start out. You were doing stage work in New York. What's the difference between stage acting and film acting for you? I mean, obvious things, but I mean, how do you feel about one versus? Do you like one better? I mean, you're a filmmaker now, so maybe you like film better, but I don't know. How do you feel about the two?
I feel like they're really different, but I haven't done stage in a while now. I haven't done stage since I was in New York, I think. So I always liked film a lot, and I liked that it was really that the small things, really, really, really small things, and the thoughts and the emotions were just noticed by the camera, and that those really meant something. That it wasn't, you didn't have to be bigger. Like that wasn't. I think I always had a little bit of a struggle with being loud or being bigger. Um, but I really miss in theater the arc of the play, and like really getting into something with another actor, and really playing the scene. That there's so much little stuff in film. Do it again, do it again, do it again, and this part. Oh, now we need this shot. So now you do it again, and you. It's, I think, like for me, the one of the hardest parts is the doing it again when you're on the 5th take or the 10th take, and like I got to get to a real place again.
Yeah, the repetition. Well, that's got to be where Meisner is got to be a huge plus.
Yeah, yeah, but really being in the moment is, and you can't fake it. Yeah, or
No,
you can, but it's noticeable.
you can, but the camera will catch you. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Goddamn camera. The beautiful and terrible camera. Do you miss the audience in stage work?
No,
That
I'm not
interaction or
shy. I'm just shy. I don't know. That's an interesting question. I never thought about that, but think when you say that, I'm just a shy person naturally, and I think you're right. I don't miss the audience.
yeah.
I miss the other actor, and I miss the play, but
Mhm.
I miss the audience. Yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite film and why? Do you have a favorite?
I thought about this. I don't have a favorite film. I have a number of favorites. I like a lot of Sofia Coppola's films. I like a lot of like like I loved Magnolia. Just a lot of the being John Malkovich, Charlie Kaufman films.
Mm.
I like films that are unique and very. I definitely like films that tell a story that I haven't seen before. I like films where the acting is really authentic. So any of those would be favorites, and I'm always looking for new ones. I just saw this film, which is old, called Short Term 12, which is fantastic. It's not a new film, but I'd never seen it, and I thought that was one of the best films I'd seen in a while.
So yeah, do you have a particular favorite actor or actors?
I like new, younger actors when I just think they're embodying the character. I really like Adam Driver. I saw Marriage Story recently. I'm late on everything because of having kids, so all the films I mentioned have been out for years, but I finally see them. But I loved his performance in Marriage Story. I like Brie Larson a lot. I feel like she is very subtle. Like I just feel like she really slips into the characters, and I don't see her putting on anything. I feel like her characters are so full of depth, and not especially maybe like her. When you see her interviewed, she seems like someone else, which I really appreciate.
It's that weird rule of opposites, right? Yeah, when you think people because people in the audience, they see an actor and they see an actor and they think, oh, we know this person. It's like, and then you meet them. Of course, they're usually quite different.
Yeah, which is great.
Young actors that are starting out now. Any advice that you would care to offer or throw out there, or things you would do, things you wouldn't do, things you would do differently, or I don't know.
Get to know yourself really well, so that every time auditions are the hardest part, I think, of this process. So I feel like I trip myself up a lot in auditions, thinking about what they wanted, or holding back because I was nervous and not sure what I was supposed to do or be. Just totally being yourself as much as possible, and then you find yourself as an actor, and you get cast because they want you. Yeah, I try to share that with people, and I just, you get so many people asking questions about, is this right? And there's no right. Like if you're you, that, at least for film, that's the best. If you can act and you're you.
Yeah, I bravo, thank you. I think that's like that, you know, that's I think that's some of the best advice that you can give young actors, because they're so busy trying to figure out, like you just said, what they want. And I also, you know, I worked for cast. I worked as a reader for casting, a couple of different casting directors in New York for years. They don't know what they want in most cases, right? They've got something written down on a script. Maybe the director does. It's always, they'll know it when they see it.
Yeah. And you hear all those stories about this role was supposed to be this, but this person came in and we wanted to cast them, so we made it this. And that people are interesting. Like I would say, anyone who's watching, I mean, you're interesting. Like every single human is so fascinating, but we hide all of this stuff about ourselves. So I would say just get to know yourself and let it go, and then you'll get cast.
Yeah.
That's something.
I agree. You know, that's one of the great things about being an actor, is that's the one area of your life that you're not required to edit, right?
They don't want you to edit it. Yeah.
Oh,
Someone will edit it for you.
yeah, exactly. Someone edited for you. Okay, great. Darcy Miller, this is a really fun interview. I enjoyed this very much. Anything you want to tell us about what you're working on now, things you have coming up, or things that are out that you might want us to take a look at? Where can we catch you?
My last series is still out and is really funny. It's about some serious issues about homelessness and how to change the world, but it's a total comedy. And the actors were amazing. That's called One Bird at a Time. It's a 10-part series, but you can watch any of them alone and they make sense. I know that's on the Evergreen channel, and I think it's still on YouTube too. So you could see it either of those places. And then my new film, it's not out yet, but it's called Stories We Could Have Told You, and it's a short film, really cool. It's a mother telling her child bedtime stories with a darker background to it, but each of the stories is animated by this amazing animator here in Portland named Zach Margolis, and they're gorgeous. And my kids, I can't show them the film because it's too dark, but they love, occasionally I'll show them one of the stories without anything else attached to it, and they love it. So it's don't show your kids, but it's a good film, and hopefully it'll be out soon.
Okay. Sounds like a great film. I'm looking forward to seeing it and watching it.
Thanks.
Okay. That's great. Darcy Miller, thank you so much for coming on and giving us your time and speaking with us. It's been a real pleasure. It's been great to see you. It's been a while.
Yes, I'm glad we did it.
Yeah, me too. All right, we'll have to do it more often.
Sounds good.
All right.
Okay.
All right. All for now.
Bye.
All right.